Welcome back. In this video, I am going to show you how to cut a spout onto a thrown form. I've just thrown a few forms here. I've already started to alter this one a bit. You do want your piece to be a soft leather hard. I'm going to eye this up and then make a mark with my needle tool based on how much I want to cut off. And the first pass, I'll cut off less because I can always go back in and cut off more, but it's a lot more difficult to add on. So you can see I'm just making a mark with my needle tool. Then I'll take my X-Acto blade or your fettling knife or whatever your preferred cutting tool is. And I'm just gonna place the X-Acto in and rotate the piece and remove this part. You can see the clay is still quite flexible. I'm able to bend it without it cracking or breaking. So you want that flexibility so you can manipulate the spout a little bit and squish the form to accentuate the spout a little bit. And now I just eye it up. I can see that I have a high point here. If you wanted to, if you're having a hard time seeing that, you could put a ruler on so you could clearly see that you have a high point here. Or you could get it as exact as having a small level that you're using, but I just eye it up. I'm gonna cut a little bit more of this away to even up this side. Cleaning my X-Acto in between each cut so I get a nice clean cut. I'm gonna slightly round this spout. Now it's just kind of the back and forth until you get the size spout that you want, how narrow you'd like it here. Or if you wanted a wider spout, don't trim it down as much as I'm trimming it down. And then once I get a little bit closer to what I want, I'll take my well wrung out sponge and just kind of nurse a little bit of water and compression into this rim and then into what will be the spout. And then I'm going to take my index fingers and just kind of run along the rim and start to shape this a bit more. And you can come back in with your X-Acto and even it up. Like, I'm not exactly even yet, but right now I want to just get this spout the way I want it, and I can cut away more clay. Now I'm going to go from the front of the spout with my thumbs and push in a little bit. And I just start to shape and manipulate this cup. I do want to make sure that I have a bit of a channel, and that's why I'm coming in and expanding this clay out and stretching it a bit, because I want to make sure the liquid that's coming out is directed. And the way to do that is to create a bit of a channel where it goes from wider to narrower. So now I'm going with my thumb and index finger to both sides of the outside of the spout. And then I'm taking my index finger and pushing out against that resistance that my thumb and index finger are creating. And so you can see that starting to give me that nice channel so I can direct that liquid out of the form and out of the spout. You can really do this with any shape form, but I have found that if you have something with a belly and then a bit of a neck, where when you throw the neck you make it slightly flare out at the top, that already gives you that shape of creating the channel a little bit easier. So if you want to speed up your process and you know that you wanted about a 1-inch spout, you certainly could go to the opposite side of where you're going to put your spout and measure down an inch and then try to draw a line from the point of the spout down to that inch so you can make a grander cut right away. But I usually just baby step it because I'm not exactly sure what I want, and I just want it to kind of show me as I start cutting away clay. So I like the ability to just have a little bit of play available. So there are quicker end points if you're looking to do this as quick as possible, or just, you know, baby step it like I'm doing. It's still a fairly quick process. Holding and pushing in slightly with my thumb and index finger, and then pushing against that resistance with the opposite index finger, just to make that spout go out a little bit more from the form. And that's just gonna go back to directing that liquid. You also wanna make sure that when you're throwing this, that you don't get it too thin at the top of the form, or you can get a really delicate, it's fine if this is more delicate because that's gonna help cut the liquid, but you can see on this piece, it's a little bit thin here where I attached the handle, where I was cutting it down, because naturally when we throw, most of us get the top of our forms a bit thinner. So this one has a little more bulk, which I prefer just for stability and life, I guess, through use, longer life. When you're going to finalize this, make sure you're looking at it from back to front and front to back, and side to side, just because sometimes you see things from a different view that you don't necessarily see. Like this is a little narrower here on one side than the other. If you're afraid you'll cut off too much using the X-Acto, you can always use a Sureform. That's an easy way to take a small amount of material versus getting your X-Acto caught in and maybe cutting a little bit more than you want. When you're making your spout, you could also use your thumb to be pushing in against the resistance of your opposite hand, thumb and index. So I'm really holding that and I'm pushing in and then out at the top, so we can really start to get that nice belly and scooping outward. And then you can see that I thinned out the very top of this clay, so it's about half the thickness that this is. I did a bevel all the way around the rim just for aesthetics and refinement, but keeping this a little bit thinner is gonna help that liquid pour better. I'm gonna add a handle on this. Obviously this is a small enough form where you could get away with not having a handle and you could hold it and pour it, or you could do like a push handle, but I'm gonna add a little handle here just to kind of balance this out visually. Spout go out, handle go out, just will be a nice balanced form. And then you do want to make sure that the inside of this spout is beveled and slightly thinner at the top edge, because that is going to help get that liquid out more effectively. Where it's thinner, it's going to cut that liquid a bit better. And you can keep manipulating this after you get your handle on. So have a couple handles ready. You do want to make sure that you're placing it centered to the spout. So if it helps you to look at the spout and make a line on both sides of it at the rim so you can make sure you're centering it up, then do that. So score it, use some slip or some water or some vinegar, whatever your preferred medium is for attaching. So just make sure you have secured your attachments both at the top and the bottom. If you wanted to, you could add a little mini coil through here to seal that a bit more, but I really compressed so I feel confident that that's not gonna crack. If you need to make some more alterations to your rim to accentuate it a bit more, you still have that flexibility to do that. So that's it. There it is. A spout cut on to a thrown form. Oh, and if you want a demo on handles and how to make handles, just go ahead and check out the video on my YouTube channel on how to make handles. This one I just made from a coil by flattening it and doing a series of pulls with a sponge. So if you want to see some tips on how to make handles, please check that out. Thanks for watching. Bye.